What a game we have this Sunday at 1 o'clock right here in Tampa, Florida. It's the 7-2 New England Patriots coming off a 6-game winning streak, playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 6-2, who are coming off a bye week. Two excellent head coaches, former players themselves. I'm going to be at the game. I want to see this live. I like to see things live, you know. This is going to be a dandy. This episode is brought to you by Body Armor Flash I.V. Flash I.V. delivers faster, longer lasting hydration with over 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes and no artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners like those other drinks. So whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat, work hard. Hydrate hard with Body Armor Flash I.V. Grab yours today at your local 7-Eleven convenience store. This Top of Mind is brought to you by Chevrolet. Football season's in full swing. And whether you're grinding through the week or gearing up for kickoff, there's one ride that's always game ready, the Chevy Silverado. Built for the hustle, ready for the game. Silverado is America's most dependable full-size truck. Head to Chevy.com to learn more and build your own Chevy Silverado. Okay, Sunday at 1 o'clock, it's the New England Patriots. Believe it or not, the New England Patriots, who are 4-13, each of the last 2 years, come roaring into Tampa, 7-2 with a 6-game winning streak to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 6-2. They're coming off their bye week. They're in first place in the NFC South. The Patriots are in first place in the AFC East. Two head coaches that are former players have done a hell of a job with these two teams. Mike Vrabel has the Patriots looking for their 8th victory. It took them 2 years to win 8 games. So Mike Vrabel and his staff have done an unbelievable job turning this roster over, implementing new schemes with new players, and getting great results. And Todd Bowles, all he does is win. He finds ways to win. He might have the most mentally tough team in the league. They've overcome a lot of critical injuries at key positions. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff, and the weather should be perfect. 85 degrees. And a 20% chance of precipitation. I always loved those days because maybe the clouds would come over the sun and it would be a little cooler. But the weather will be perfect, I do believe, for this great matchup. The Patriots are the surprise of the NFL, if you ask me. They're 4-0 on the road. Nothing phases this team. They're led by a great young quarterback, Drake May, a lot of newcomers on defense. They're coming in here with a lot of confidence. They found a way to hang on and beat the Atlanta Falcons last week 24-3. And they're heading in here to play Tampa, who's coming off a bye. What do you think you do on a bye week? A lot of people probably give their players a week off. They can go on a cruise somewhere and have a nice relaxing week off. But not Todd Bowles. He keeps his guys around. He works on fundamentals. He works on player development. Maybe you can get your backup quarterback some reps. You keep training your young receivers. You keep training your young offensive linemen that are going to have to play key snaps down the stretch. You do a self-scout on what we've called on offense, what we've called on defense. We come up with a few new change-ups to keep everybody off balance. That's what you do on a bye week. The uncomfortable thing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the uncertainty. I can't imagine Todd Bowles every night driving home, not knowing who's in, who's out. Then you show up at work and the trainer comes up and says who's practicing, who can't practice. You're always adjusting your game plan. You're always adjusting your practice schedules. And it's tough, man. And it's really uncomfortable. So I'm hoping after this bye week, Tampa Bay gets a little clearer picture on their injury reports. It's still extensive. But we do know right tackle Luke Gedeke is on the practice field. There's a chance he can play, if not against New England, here in the near future. Hopefully, Bucky Irvin, Chris Godwin, some of these other Buccaneers that have missed a lot of time are coming back soon. These two teams are not common foes. I remember coaching in Tampa. I think the only time we played New England was up in Foxborough and they kicked our ass. That's how I can remember that. But they've only played 10 times. And New England has a 7-3 advantage. The last time they played, believe it or not, was 2021. Tom Brady was playing quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They went back to Foxborough, and Tampa beat New England 19-17. Both of these teams have a lot of imprints from Tom Brady, wouldn't you say? I think Tom did quite well playing for the New England Patriots, and young Drake May has had some big shoes to fill. And Baker Mayfield, you got to give him credit. He had to succeed the world champion Tom Brady as well, and what a job he has done. It's a credit to both of these quarterbacks. I think the turnover battle is a big issue and one to really study in this game. Right now, the New England Patriots are at 0. They've taken it away 11 times, but they've also given it up 11 times. Technically, they're 0. They're even. That's 14th in the NFL. The best thing Todd Bowles, Tampa Bay Buccaneers do, and they do a lot of good things now, the best thing they do is they take the ball away on defense. They've taken it away 12 times, and they protect the ball on offense, just 5 giveaways. Tampa Bay +7 in the turnover ledger. That's the winning edge for a lot of teams in this league. So New England, they turned it over a bit last week. Drake May had 2 fumbles. He had an interception. They had some history, these Patriots did, earlier in the season, fumbling the ball. You remember that Pittsburgh game? And against Levante David and Antoine Winfield, ball security and turnover margin is going to be a big deal in this football game. So I'm sure Mike Vrabel has really geared up ball security in this game. Both of these offensive lines are struggling. The New England Patriots are playing a rookie at left tackle. They're playing a rookie at left guard. There's been growing pains. They've given up 16 sacks in the last 3 games. 6 against the Atlanta Falcons. 6 against the Cleveland Browns. You get the picture, don't you? And Tampa Bay has 15 sacks from their defense in the last 3 games. So I'm telling you, the Patriots better get their act together with their blitz pickups and their pass protection. And for the Buccaneers, they're still missing their right tackle, Luke Gedeke, and their backup right tackle, we'll get into it in a little bit, he has struggled protecting the passer. He's given up a lot of pressures, and Tampa Bay has had a guard carousel. The right guard is like a carousel, man. People are coming and going off the carousel. I think they're on to their 4th different right guard. So both of these offensive lines got to pick it up. That's going to determine the outcome of this game. Let's take a look at the NFC, AFC races. This is a battle between 2 of the top teams. In the AFC, the Denver Broncos with that thrilling 10-7 Thursday night game where both teams had more penalties than first downs are at 8-2. They are the top team in the AFC. The Colts are 7-2. The Patriots are 7-2. So this is a huge game for them to keep up with the leaders. Buffalo's at 6-2. The Chargers, Steelers, and Jaguars have 3 losses. So this game is very meaningful for New England, who has a very favorable schedule here down the stretch. In the NFC, it is really crowded, man. The Philadelphia Eagles, the defending world champs, at the top of the league again at 6-2, and Tampa Bay is right there with them. Remember, Philly has the tiebreaker because they came in here to Tampa and beat the Buccaneers a few weeks ago. Seattle is storming, man. They're 6-2. The Rams are rolling at 6-2. Green Bay's 5-2-1. You don't know what's coming out of the tunnel with that team. San Francisco, Detroit, and Chicago all have 3 losses. So Tampa Bay would love to win the South, get home field throughout the playoffs, and get some guys well right around that time of year. It could be a special season for the Buccaneers. This game features 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You know, if you look at DraftKings like I do, the guy that's the favorite to win the MVP right now is Josh Allen. Second, it's Pat Mahomes. Well, wouldn't you think that'd be true? Yes. Who's number 3? Drake May of the New England Patriots. Number 4 is Matt Stafford. Number 5 is Baker Mayfield. So 2 of the top 5 MVP candidates at this point in the season are right here in Tampa, Florida. Both of these quarterbacks couldn't be more different physically. Drake May has prototype size. He's like 6'4.5", 220. He looks like a prototype quarterback. Baker Mayfield's 6'1", 215, built a little bit differently, but man, do these guys have a lot of similarities. Mayfield was the number 1 overall pick. Drake May was the number 3 overall pick. But when you look at them, these guys have what I call the it factor. You know how Malisack walks down the hall and everybody goes, "That's a cool guy, man." He has the it factor. That doesn't even come close to what it's like when Mayfield and May walk around. These guys just have the it factor, man. They pick up the football team. They motivate their teams. They excite their fan base. Leadership, grit, passion. They got unbelievable competitiveness, a will to win, and they make everybody around them better. And if you ask anybody in New England on that football team, they would say that about Drake May. And if you ask anybody in Tampa about Baker Mayfield, they would all say these guys have it, man. And it's a credit to them. These teams are built around their quarterbacks. Both of these quarterbacks, they use their legs a lot more than people think. And it's the key to their success. Baker Mayfield has 160 yards rushing, and he's made 11 defenders miss. He's got some, whoa, make you miss. He is a hell of a scrambling quarterback. Drake May is number 1 in the NFL in quarterback scrambling. He's taken off 59 times for 270 yards. So both of these guys keep plays alive, and they can run for first downs. They love it. Another category where these guys really excel is tight window passing. When I was breaking down film of quarterbacks that were coming out of college, I always told the guys that broke the film down, show me some tight window passes. I want to see these guys stick it in there in a tight window. Well, we have Pro Football Focus that measures who's making throws within 1 yard of separation. Wouldn't you think Dak Prescott would be on that list? Yes. But these two guys are at the top of the food chain. Drake May and Baker Mayfield, they trust their arm, they trust their receivers, and they will cut it loose in tight windows. I love it. So they can use their legs, they'll cut it loose in tight windows, and they are both excellent vertical passers. Baker Mayfield leads the NFL with 7 touchdown passes, 20 or more yards in the air. That's awesome. And guess who's right behind him? Drake May. Drake May has 150.6 QBR on passes thrown over 20 yards. He's unbelievable, man. Some of these deep passes, good God, it's like, I don't know what it's like. It's incredible, the accuracy on these long passes. Mayfield has 4 game-winning drives. He's tied with Bo Nix for the lead league. So crunch time is his time. It's a credit to him. And Drake May has been a model of consistency. You know, he's had 8 games this year of over 200 yards passing and 100 quarterback rating. That's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning-like stuff to do it 8 times in a year. Only Aaron Rodgers did it more in a single season. So this guy's on fire, running and throwing, and he's taken off in Josh McDaniels' offense. As far as Mayfield goes, the last thing I'll say, he needs his horses back, man. He needs Evans. He needs Godwin. He needs Jalen McMillan. He needs Agbuka to be healthy. He got to get his offensive line back out there for him to truly tap into his greatness. They have fallen off a little bit the last couple weeks offensively against the Saints and the Lions. Year 2 players usually show the most improvement. And when I watch Drake May, what's really improved is his play speed. I mean, he recognizes coverages a lot faster, and his decision-making is quicker. And I believe quickness is a really important attribute to all you young quarterbacks. 3 kinds of quickness: mental quickness, arm quickness, body quickness. And you got to get quicker every day. And under Josh McDaniels, Drake May is playing quick, and he's playing decisive, and he is really in a zone right now. Both of these teams, I think, are going to have to let it rip and lean on these quarterbacks because both offenses struggle running the ball. The Patriots are going to be missing Stevenson, their leading rusher. Antonio Gibson is already out. And their rushing stats are not very good, although they're committed to it. And Tampa Bay has really fallen off running the football, and they're going up against the New England Patriot defense that's number 1 against the run. So I think both these quarterbacks are going to have to be at their best to win this football game. There are some great kickers in this game. I'm really impressed with this young kicker, Andres Borregales of the Patriots. He's a rookie. He was struggling early. I remember him missing a kick in the Dolphin game, seeing Vrabel on the sidelines. You know, Vrabel's a big guy. You don't want to piss off Vrabel. It's one thing to piss me off, but when you piss off Vrabel, man, you're pissing off a big guy. And I thought he might really get ticked off at his kicker, but he's hung in there with them, and he has really kicked the ball well. He's 13 out of 14 on field goals, 24 out of 26 on PATs. He's showed really good range and accuracy. A thing to think about in special teams, remember this if you can remember one thing. Marcus Jones is a great slot corner for the Patriots. He's also averaging 19.3 yards per punt return. Call Carolina, he took one back 90 yards against them. And it was fast, man. And the Buccaneers right now are struggling. covering kicks. They're giving up almost 15 yards per punt return. That's 29th in the league. So every time Tampa Bay punts, they're going to be using Riley Dixon. And Riley Dixon's had 2 punts blocked as well. And when he punts the ball, make sure you kick the ball near the sideline against Marcus Jones because the man is dangerous. And for Tampa Bay, Chase McLaughlin is their field goal kicker. Hell's bells. He kicked a 52, 54, and 56-yarder last week in one game against the Saints. That's spectacular. That's why he's the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. And McLaughlin, when you study him on kicks from 40 to 47 and 50 to 59 or 50 to 60 or whatever the hell it is, over 40 yards, he's making 86%. That's second to Brandon Aubrey of the Cowboys. He's a hell of a kicker. He's proven that for a while. Injuries in this game for the New England Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson, their leading rusher, looks like he's going to miss this game. He missed the Falcons game last week with a toe. Antonio Gibson, we already know, is on IR, so that puts a lot of pressure on Travion Henderson, their rookie from Ohio State, who I love. Can't wait to see him. Kayshon Boutte, wide receiver, hurt his hamstring late in that game against Atlanta. He might not be able to play. That's a big blow because this guy's playing his ass off for New England. Also, Christian Ellis, starting linebacker in their sub package. He came out of that game in the second half last week. I didn't see him. I don't believe he's going to play. So that's a big loss to the middle of this Patriot defense. For Tampa Bay, they've got a list of injuries. They are going to get Luke Haggard back at right guard. So that guard carousel keeps spinning, man. I don't think Luke Gedeke will play at right tackle, but he has been on the practice field. What a great sign that is for Todd Bowles and all the Buck fans out there. And Baker Mayfield, too. Hassan Reddick, really good defensive end, outside linebacker, didn't play last week. Ankle, he's got some knee swelling. He's probably out of the game. And then the receivers, Evans, Godwin, McMillan, look like they're all out of this game. And I don't believe Bucky Irving's going to play. And they need him back fast. So that's a lot to unpack. Let's get into the game. This offense-defense matchup is brought to you by Rhoback. Everybody's been telling me about this Rhoback. They say, hey, you got to get these shirts and pants and tops. Hey, look at this Rhoback Hezzy hoodie. Hey, look at this guy, man. It's just such smooth material, man. Whew, feels so nicey. Look at that little logo right there, Clay. You can even put it over your shoulders and wear it with some style. You put this thing on and boom, you're in the comfort zone. You might start drawing plays up from the couch. And the Rhoback Sprint joggers, don't even get me started. I wear them to travel, I wear them to film study, I wear them right now. They're soft, they're comfortable, and they got that look that makes you feel like, yeah, I still got it, man. So listen, the holidays are right around the corner. Treat yourself and treat your team. Head to Rhoback.com and use code Gruden for 20% off. Once you put on Rhoback, you're not taking it off. It's that good. Okay, let's look at this Patriots offense against this Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense. Mike Vrabel gets a lot of credit, justifiably so, and so does Drake May, their excellent young quarterback. But Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator of the Patriots, he deserves a lot of credit. He inherited a defense that was at the bottom of almost every major category last year. I mean, points per game, they were 30th. Yards per game, 31st. Passing yards a game, 32nd. And third down percentage, they were 29th. So he inherited a hodgepodge offense that wasn't very good. But right now, hey, they're 9th in scoring, 12th in passing, 9th in total offense. They're also 9th in third down. They're doing a hell of a job. And Josh McDaniels, when you study him, he is a very detailed guy, very creative. You see a lot of attention to detail in their chips and their pass pro help system, their route distribution, the ball distribution. He's done a hell of a job involving a lot of people. And he really does a great job setting up big plays. He'll run a play in there, run a play in there. He'll be looking at the safety, and then bam, he'll go after him middle of the third quarter. He's always done an excellent job in his preparation, and I love the fact that he has collaborated with this young quarterback and stayed in his wheelhouse. He utilizes his staff. He's getting ideas from his line coach, his receiver coach. They're all working together, and McDaniels can present a lot of offense and teach it better than most guys I've been around. He's a hell of a football coach. And what a developer of the quarterback position he is. I know Tom Brady's Tom Brady, but he did a hell of a job with every quarterback he's ever coached. You could call Mac Jones. Look at the progress he made as a rookie in New England. And Drake May's turnaround has been fantastic and fun to watch. The Patriots are balanced on offense. They don't have a lot of long runs. They're not killing you with the running game, but they're committed to the running game. And it has simplified the game, and it's helped them control the clock and really call the game with some play action passes and misdirection plays off of some of their base runs. They're only averaging 3.8 yards a carry, which is at the bottom of the league. We talked about them missing Stevenson and Gibson, their top two halfbacks. They're leaning on Travion Henderson, their second-round pick from Ohio State. He's their leading rusher. They have a guy off their practice squad, Terrell Jennings. I had never heard of Jennings. He's from Florida A&M. He got 11 totes last week, and he slammed it up in there good, man. But you got to be concerned with these two young backs against this veteran defense led by Levante David of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it is a credit to Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels to stay with the running game, with the injuries to their backs, with the inability to really get big runs. They've also stayed with the running game in spite of some fumbles. They fumbled the Steeler game away. Hell, a lot of guys say, quit running it. Let's throw it every play. But they've been committed to it, and it's paid off for them. Big issue, I think, is the pass protection. 6 sacks against the Falcons, 6 sacks against the Browns, 16 sacks in the last 3 weeks. And it's really been problematic across the board, particularly on this left side. Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, 2 rookie players, they have struggled in one-on-one situations and with the TE stunts. They haven't done a good enough job keeping guys out of Drake May's face. Now, some of the sacks belong to Drake May. He's got to get rid of the ball. Throw it away. Abort the ball. Do not take sacks and do not take hits. I think he can pick that up as well. Sometimes he's trying to get too much out of every single play. But they got to eliminate the sacks. It's knocked them out of down and distance situations, and it really is going to be a factor in this game if it happens again. Josh McDaniels, he uses a lot of different personnel groupings. They even use a thing called a fullback. Can you imagine that? I love it. They got this guy number 37, Jack Westover. He used to play for the University of Washington. He played for the Seahawks a little bit. He'll get into a 2-back set. Sometimes they'll put him on the wing of the tight end. They'll bring him in short motion. He inserts right there in the B gap. Isolation blocks on linebackers, and it's just a reverse handoff. It's an old-fashioned lead play. It gets me going. It's got me feeling nicey. Oh! And they throw some nice play-action passes off of it because when you're a linebacker and you got a fullback coming right at you, you better step up and take that block on. And when you do, sometimes there's some vacated holes in behind you. But they also do a great job of using everybody on their roster. Hell, last week on the first 3rd and 1, they put a defensive tackle, their nose tackle. Big old Tonga, number 95, comes in short motion, whams some guy. You know, New England used to do that with Vince Wilfork and Richard Seymour. Hell, Mike Vrabel caught 12 freaking touchdown passes. So New England has always been famous for using the entire roster to do what they got to do to win a singular football game. And then they'll do something else the next week. When I say New England has excellent ball distribution, that's putting it mildly. They have 13 different Patriots that have scored. Can you believe that, Jake? They have 8 guys with 10 or more catches and 100 or more yards. Nobody in the NFL can say that. They've had 6 games this year where they've had a different leading receiver. So they really don't care who catches it. They're unselfish, and that's something that is part of the Patriot way if you go back into the history of their success. We can't just be all positive with Drake May. He's got to do a much better job with ball security. Last week he had 2 fumbles. One of them got run back to the 2-yard line. And did you see the effort by Will Campbell on that play? You talk about the Patriot way. It's unselfishness, supreme effort. Will Campbell ran down Pierce to try to save a touchdown. It was awesome. But he's got to take better care of the football, 2 hands on the ball at all time, avoid the sacks, avoid the hits, utilize the throwaways, and let's make sure we take a little more conservative approach. Give up on the play once in a while, take the sack if you have to, but take care of the ball. Drake May, for a young quarterback, has been outstanding against the blitz. Not going to get into all the QBRs, but I've seen 7 touchdown passes and no picks against 5 or more rushers. And against Todd Bowles, that's a good thing because you're going to get heat at 1 o'clock on Sunday, I promise you. The biggest thing these young backs are going to have to do in this game is pick up blitzes. And I'm concerned a little bit about Henderson. The thing I love the most about Travion Henderson at Ohio State was he picked up blitzes better than anybody. But he's had some struggles on film. He's been bullied a couple times back near the pocket. He had a terrible miss against Miami. And I know this. Todd Bowles doesn't just blitz the quarterback. He blitzes these running backs. If he sees a guy that's struggling a little bit picking up a blitz, let's make sure we blitz that side of the formation and make these young kids pick up these blitzes. So Henderson's got to be aware of that. They do a great job in New England with their help system. Matter of fact, if you're a young coach out there and you want to learn how to pass protect at a high level, you should always start with New England Patriot film. They chip with tight ends. They chip with running backs. They do a hell of a job emphasizing and getting great help. If you're an uncovered lineman and you don't have anybody to block, you very rarely see these guys just, no. They're looking for a seed to plant. Kapow! Man, they're physical. I love the way they teach pass protection. The other thing the Patriots do a good job of is they are excellent in the scramble drill. We talked about Drake May. He's taken off 59 times, man, for 270 yards. But against Buffalo, he takes off, and Stephon Diggs does a great job peeling away from a defender for a 40-yard gain. I saw Douglas, number 3, do the same thing against Cleveland. He separated from a defender, took off for a 35-yard gain. So Tampa has got to plaster and deal with Drake May as a runner and a passer in these scramble situations. Last thing I'll say about the Patriots, they're going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneer run defense that historically is good every year. And I know Gibbs had 136 yards a couple weeks ago. I saw the 78-yard run. But other than that, this Tampa Bay defense, they're still 6th or 7th in the league against the run. And when Vita Vea is out there on the field and you want to run the ball, I'll send you a Hallmark card, a good luck card. Good luck to you. You got very little chance. Run the ball when he's off the field, it's that much of a difference. But I do believe with all the fronts, all the stunts, all the blitzes, I do think Drake May, Josh McDaniels are going to have to throw the ball 40 to 45 times at least to win this football game. Let's take a look at Todd Bowles and the Buccaneer defense. They're 13th in scoring, 15th in total, 7th against the run, and 22nd against the pass. This is a defense that gets the ball back. They generate turnovers. 12 turnovers they have already. They have 3 of the best punch-out guys in football. I'm talking about guys that punch the ball out and cause fumbles. Antoine Winfield at safety. You know Antoine Winfield at safety in 6 seasons, Jake, has 8 picks, 12 forced fumbles, 10 fumble recoveries, and 18 sacks in 6 years. How about that factor grade? The only guy to duplicate those numbers in his first 6 years is also on the Bucs. That freaking Levante David. So what I'm saying is you better look out. And the guy that's really as good as them, that's really on the rise, perhaps the most underrated defender in the league that I've studied, is this Tyke Smith, number 23. He will knock your ass off. He's an old school safety with bad intentions, man. Sorry to say that, but he's got 66 tackles, 2 sacks. He leads the Buccaneers. He's got a forced fumble. I love the way Tampa Bay attacks the football, man. These guys really get it, and it's a big part of this Todd Bowles culture. Todd Bowles is going to bring heat. And I would be very leery of him coming off a bye week. You give the guy a lot of time to really study his tendencies and take a look at your weaknesses. It's a bad combination. When you pick up the schedule, you're probably like, oh shit, we got to deal with this guy on a bye week. But what he does is he breaks your protection down with these designer blitzes. Just watch the very first play of the game last week against the Saints. Two guys come off the edge, a corner, some outside linebacker. It's like they blitz from Ruskin, Louisiana. I mean, they weren't even in the Superdome. I mean, hell, the last thing it looked like was a blitz. And they really frustrated Rattler, and they sent him to the bench. They hit him multiple times. They intercepted the kid. They made life miserable. And that's what Bowles does against young quarterbacks. I can't wait to see Drake May, this young guy, going up against Todd Bowles. But the blitzes are designed to break your protection down, obviously, and sack your quarterback. They also set it up to make sure that your worst lineman has a one-on-one block against their best rusher, or your worst protecting back has got to block our best blitzer. There's a lot of strategy, a lot of excellent work behind the scenes to set these matchups up. They blitz 32% of the time, 7th in the league, and it's the constant threat of pressure that really makes a lot of quarterbacks uncomfortable. They don't bring it all the time, but they won't disappoint you, trust me. The other thing that gives a lot of quarterbacks, particularly young quarterbacks, problems is when they blitz, you don't really know what the coverage is. They disguise all their coverages very well, and it's not just man-to-man when they blitz. It could be a palms 2 deep split safety coverage, 3 deep, 3 under. Could be man over here, zone over here. They do all kind of things to really piss us offensive guys off. And they take particular pride in doing it, and they're really, really good at it. Todd Bowles' defense is chaos by committee. That's a t-shirt I would make. If I was selling them at the stadium, that's a good idea. I might sell chaos by committee. Hell, when I watched Tampa Bay, they got blitzers coming from all 3 levels. On the line of scrimmage, linebacking core, they're coming from the safety position. They got Jacob Parrish coming off the edge. He's a little nickel corner. He's got 2 sacks. They come from everywhere, all 3 levels. And they run a lot of fire zones. What's a fire zone? Well, basically, you got guys that are supposed to rush every play, but they drop. And you got guys that are supposed to drop in coverage that rush. It's a mix-up of people's assignments, and it really confuses a lot of people, particularly running backs, quarterbacks, and centers. The biggest improvement in Tampa Bay's defensive team is in their secondary. They've added a great young corner, Jacob Parrish, in the draft. He has really solidified them at the nickel position, and it allowed them to move last year's nickel, Tyke Smith, back to safety. And Smith has been watching Winfield, one of the great safeties in football, their mannerisms, their instincts, their communication. It is awesome. And Jamal Dean has had a great year at right corner. I mean, his QBR against him is unbelievable. He's blitzing off the edge. He's got 3 interceptions. And Zion McCollum at left corner, very solid. They also have Benjamin Morrison, a young corner from Notre Dame, who's starting to get better and better. They've got some depth. They've got some versatility. And these guys can do a lot of different things on the back end. The run defense is what makes it all go. They lead the league, or are close to the league in stuffs, runs that go for 0 or less. And it's frustrating, man. When you work all week on your running game, you come out there, you're all excited to play, and you run your best back with his best run up in there behind your best blocker. Bam! You get nothing. Tampa Bay does a great job of getting you in 2nd and 10, getting you to abandon the running game, forcing you to be one-dimensional, and you play right into Todd Bowles' hands. So I hope New England can stay somewhat committed to the run, but you also don't want to waste plays. You don't want to force something that ain't there. That's why I expect New England to come in here ripping it. Todd Bowles is one of the great crunch time blitzers. If this game comes down to the wire, remember we said it here first. He's going to heat you up, man. End of game situations, they're going to bring the heat, man. They are not going to sit back. They're going to blitz. They are missing Hassan Reddick. Now, Reddick had 1.5 sacks coming off the edge. He did have 20 pressures. It could affect Tampa Bay if it's a throw it, throw it, throw it type game. So keep an eye on the depth. They're going to really lean on Nelson, number 98. Anthony Nelson had a hell of a game last week, seventh-year defender. And Chris Braswell, number 43, second-year player out of Alabama. They got to be ready to pick up the slack. Let's take a look at the matchups here, men. Up front for the Patriots, we've talked about their young left side, Will Campbell and left guard Jared Wilson. A first-round pick, LSU, Campbell. He's been up, he's been down in pass protection. He has given up some sacks now in the last 3 weeks. Guys like Myles Garrett, God help you when you got to see that guy. But he has had some issues against the stunts. And Jared Wilson, he's given up over 20 pressures, a few sacks. It hasn't been perfect on that left side. I expect Tampa Bay to bring some games and stunts and their best rushers on that side. Center is Garrett Bradbury. He's beat up right now, the ex-Minnesota Viking. I got to coach him in the Senior Bowl. He's not the biggest guy. The size against Vita Vea could be an issue. Keep an eye on that. Not a big center. You're blocking the biggest cat you will see in Vita Vea, number 50. Right guard Mike Onwenu. He's the only returning Patriot on this line, and Morgan Moses came over from the Jets. Morgan Moses had some pressures allowed last week against the Falcons. All in all, the right side has been more consistent than the left. And for Tampa Bay, it's Yaya Diaby, the guy that pops off the screen when I watch him. He wears number 0, third-year player out of Louisville. Here's a guy that had 7.5 as a rookie, just 4.5 last year. I think he did a lot of Pilates and just flexibility work because he's coming around the edge a lot better this year than he did last year. Got great power. He's got over 30 pressures, 24 tackles. I love Yaya Diaby against Will Campbell. They're also using Elijah Roberts. Tampa Bay has a rookie from SMU, number 95 Roberts, who has become a starter. And he's replacing Kalijah Kancey, who's a hell of a player that's out for the year. They lost him early in the season. But keep an eye on this kid, Elijah Roberts. He played about 70% of the plays last week against the Saints. He's on the rise in the middle of this Buck defense. Vita Vea, he's a key playmaker in this defense. The pressures he creates, the run stuffs, the stamina that he plays with, and just the down-by-down, game-by-game production. He's a pain in the ass on first down or third down. Great versatility. Don't be surprised if Todd Bowles doesn't have a blitz or he's playing middle linebacker. He's done that in the past. He has that type of athletic ability. You'll see Greg Gaines playing in there 40% of the time. So it'll be Roberts, Vita Vea, Gaines, and you'll probably see a little C.J. Brewer, number 52, on an 85-degree day against the Patriots. Anthony Nelson, number 98. I just want to go back last week on a bootleg. He came out, tipped that pass, caught it, ran it back for a touchdown. Got another sack later in the game. Saints blew the protection, and Nelson went in there for the win. But he's a good veteran player that can bat balls down, crafty rusher, and they're going to need a lot from him with Hassan Reddick out of the ballgame. On the outside for the Patriots, the number 1 receiver for New England is Stephon Diggs. I'm so happy to see this. 32 years old. He kind of disappeared last year in Houston. He got hurt, had that ACL injury, and now all of a sudden, he's the leading receiver for the Patriots. 45 catches, 508 yards. He's closing in on perhaps his 7th 1,000-yard season. He made a couple great runs after the catch against Buffalo. He can still win in one-on-one situations. He can play in the slot or outside. He's a perfect fit for Josh McDaniels' offense. And outside, we already talked about Keyshawn Boutte. They're going to miss him if he doesn't play. Nobody knows this. Probably very few people know this. I did not know this. When I saw Boutte, I'm like, damn, he's averaging 18.7 yards per catch. This guy can really get downfield and catch the 50-50 ball. He can really stem you and change speeds, lull you to sleep, and blur the screen and go by you. I love this kid, Boutte. The other guy that's emerging is Demario Douglas, number 3. He's emerging. He just had a career game against Atlanta, 4 catches, 100 yards. This cat can roll, man. He's a really good player. They'll put him in the slot. They love to run him right down the hash. and he'll run right down that hash at warp speed. He'll stick you and take you. He got a big play last week against the Falcons that turned the game around on 3rd and 7. Douglas will have to pick up the slack if Booty is out. On the other side, he got this guy, Mac Hollins, number 13. He's been around. He's been in Philly. He's been in Vegas. He's been in Buffalo. Hell, he's got 20 catches, 217 yards. And when they need somebody big to come in here and dig out a safety, hey, Hollins, come on in here and search that safety. He's a savage. I love Hollins. And he can run too, man. He's still a really good receiver. They also drafted Kyle Williams in the 3rd round out of Washington State. He's a receiver we really liked. He's only got 2 catches. He hadn't caught a ball since week 3. But if Booty's out, McDaniels will go to the rookie, and he'll be asked to make some key plays in this game on a hot day, trust me. For the Buccaneers in the secondary, on the right side of this Patriot offense, it'll be Zion McCollum. He's a guy that has a lot of confidence. He's been beat deep a couple times this year. The one thing about McCollum is he's had a lot of targets against him. He's given up some plays, but he has the guts. He has the mental toughness to come play after play after play and attack you, man. He's got over 40 tackles. He's one of the top tackling corners in all of football, and he limits yardage after the catch. Over here is Jamal Dean, and what a year he's had. We talked about him. He wears number 35. When he's up in press, be alert for the corner cat. So if you're a wideout and you even think Jamal Dean is blitzing, tell the quarterback, tell the tackle, tell the, hey, watch the cat. That's what we call these corner cats. Jamal Dean took a pay cut. He bet on himself, and at the end of the year, he's going to get paid, man. They also have Benjamin Morrison backing him up, number 21. He missed a tackle a couple weeks ago against the Lions. Come on, Morrison. We need him to be ready to roll. In the slot is Jacob Parrish. If I had to say who are my top 3 or 4 favorite Buccaneers, he's definitely on my nicey list. He wears 25. He's out of Kansas State. 41 tackles, 2 sacks. He loves the briar patch. You know, there's a thing called sternum bicep where, you know, all these bubble screens? I hate them. Quick screens. There's like 36 a game now. Poof, poof, these bubble screens. This guy, Jacob Parrish, he'll put one hand on your sternum, one hand on your bicep. Boom! He'll shed you and he'll tackle, man. So will Dean. I love the way this Buccaneers secondary is tackling, and Parrish is going to be the guy that's working inside. So Tampa Bay's got good corners, good depth on the outside. At running back, it'll be Travion Henderson, and I should say at the feature back position. It's his time. Last week against the Atlanta Falcons, he got the most extended work of his career. 14 carries, 55 yards. He caught 4 passes. Henderson can roll, man. This guy can fly. He's an excellent kickoff guy. If you get on the perimeter and make a guy miss, he has finishing speed. And keep an eye on this Terrell Jennings. He's wearing number 26. Hell, he got 11 carries last week. This kid comes from FAMU. He came off the practice squad. He's hungry. He's trying to earn a living, man. And those guys are exciting to watch. And my fullback, Jack Westover, God, I love when he comes in a game. He'll blast it up in there on the ISOs. Tampa Bay's linebacking core, you got to give these guys a lot of credit. Levante David's done it for years. He's 35 years old. His statistics, his production are really unmatched. And for him not to be the Pro Bowl is one thing. He should be in the freaking Hall of Fame the way he's performed. Servassier Dennis has really come on in his second year. He's second on the team with 59 tackles. Surprisingly, he's got out of position in coverage a couple times. He's overrun a couple plays like he did one time against Detroit, but he plays his ass off. He has 7 TFLs. He has 6 TFLs. That's why they get so many stuffs. These are linebackers. They read their keys. They're off to the races, and before these guards can get up on the second level, boom, it's a 3-yard loss. I love the way they play. The tight end position for the Patriots is big. Hunter Henry, hell of a player. He can pass protect. He can line up in the backfield as a fullback. He can run underneath patterns, and he's got 368 yards receiving. And when he catches a pass, the average reception point is almost 9 yards. So they're throwing the ball down the field to Hunter Henry. He's still one of the top receiving tight ends in the league. And don't fall asleep on Austin Hooper either. Hooper had a 31-yard catch last week against Atlanta. As I said, McDaniels will use every personnel grouping known to the sun. So both of these safeties, Tyke Smith and Antoine Winfield against Drake May, you can't ask for more. Young quarterback, MVP caliber season coming up against this Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense coming off a bye. Let's go. Okay, this Buccaneer offense against this Patriot defense. Tampa Bay offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard. He's got his work cut out for him. He still has a lot of players missing, and this Patriot defense has gotten better and better and better. The last 2 weeks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers only 251 yards against Detroit, just 212 yards against the Saints. They've only averaged 16 points a game. So forget about the season statistics, recent body of work. They have work to do. The offensive line injuries, the receiver injuries, and the Bucky Irving injury has really put this offense in no man's land here at times these past couple weeks. They've given up a lot of pressures. And really the young receiving core, it's a great story to see Cam Johnson, Tez Johnson, a lot of these guys get an opportunity. But against Detroit, against heavy man-to-man coverage and some of their route distribution, it hasn't been as high quality as it needs to be. So hopefully they're ready to pick this up coming off the bye. A couple weeks ago on Monday Night Football, Tampa Bay went up to Detroit. Detroit had nobody in their secondary, and the Buccaneers were missing all their receivers. And Detroit played a lot of man-to-man coverage, and they used a linebacker to spy on Baker Mayfield with a 4-man rush or a 3-man rush, and they had quite a bit of success. The New England Patriots beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo with a similar tactic. They went after Keon Coleman, they went after these Bill receivers, and they really used the spy quite a bit on Josh Allen. So I think Tampa Bay, hopefully, has done a lot of work in this bye week, attacking man-to-man coverage and anticipating what could be a very similar game plan to what the Patriots did to the Bills. Baker Mayfield's had a great year. He does a lot of things extremely well. One of them is he sees the field. If you blow a coverage like the 49ers did, boom, it's over. 49ers blew 2 coverages. It was 2 touchdowns. I thought Detroit blew a coverage. They had Tez Johnson right down the middle wide open. Mayfield missed that one. I think the pressure got to him, disrupted his vision. Last week against the Saints, they had a bad ball handling expedition. It knocked Mayfield off the spot. They had Igbuka for a touchdown, but Baker was late because of the ball handling in the backfield. They blew it on another touchdown. So there are some details, protection-wise, ball handling-wise, that got to get resolved. The run game has evaporated with the Buccaneers. You know, in 2022 and 2023, we know Tampa Bay was last in the NFL running the ball. But last year, with the arrival of Bucky Irvin, all this great work they did on the offensive line, they averaged 149 yards a game, man. 5.3 yards a carry. They were a top 3 running team. Well, they've fallen down again. They're only averaging 98 yards a game. Knock on wood if you're with me. 3.8 yards per carry. Not very good. They do not make long runs. And really, the Buccaneer running backs are averaging 3.5 yards a carry. We can't use Mayfield scramble runs to inflate our run statistics. But when you start thinking about not being able to run the football, and now you look at New England, who comes in here with the #1 rushing defense, they haven't given up more than 46 yards to anybody this year. Nobody's run for 50 yards, not a single back. It makes me wonder, shouldn't we just put the ball in Mayfield's hand and say, let's go, let's ride? What that thing Russell Wilson used to say? Did he say that? I'm going to try that. Let's ride. I like that. You know, the run game really was disappointing on the goal line last week. They got down there against the Saints, 1st and goal at the 1, 4 straight runs, got rejected. They got down there on the goal line another time, got rejected until 4th and 1 when Tucker ran it across the goal line. But it's been hard to make yards running the football. Will the Bucs stay with it, or will they open it up and let it rip? I think two receivers we got to keep an eye on. Number one, it's Emeka Egbuka, the rookie from Ohio State. He had an unbelievable start to the season. In his first 5 games, 5 touchdown catches, 90 yards a game. But in the last 2, while he's been nursing this hamstring, just 39 yards a game, no touchdowns. So he's not 100%, and he's getting 100% of the defense's attention because he's really the only go-to guy. The Buccaneers need Egbuka to be healthy. We got to find out how healthy he is in pregame. So you'll see all the Patriot coaches, trust me, in pregame. Where's number 2? They'll be watching him in warm-ups to see how healthy he is. The other man that needs to step up big time, and Buccaneer fans got to get excited about, is Sterling Shepard. He is one of the more underrated players on this Buccaneer team. He's got a lot of production. He had a history with Mayfield playing at Oklahoma. He can block. He can come in the slot. He can double move you on the outside. He's a clutch ball player. He made a receiving touchdown at the end of the Seattle game. So I think Egbuka and Sterling Shepard. You call these 2 guys into your office and you say, hey man, are you guys ready? Get your Gatorade, get your rest, because we are going to roll. We are going to throw you guys a lot of targets. And I think those guys are going to see a lot of production. For the New England Patriots, defensive coordinator Terrell Williams. He's had some prostate problems. He's not calling the game, but he is getting treated. We want to wish Coach Williams all our best here. We hope you make a speedy return, Coach, and we're praying for you. In the time being, it's been Zach Kerr, inside linebacker coach, who's been calling the defenses for Mike Vrabel, and the Patriots are a whole new team on defense. You know, they went into free agency and spent a lot of money, okay? They spent a lot of money in free agency. Milton Williams, Tonga comes in here, Harold Landry. They go get Carlton Davis. They get Spillane and Chason. They bring in a ton of veteran players, and they've all paid off for New England. They're all making key contributions. The number one strength of this defense is they stop the run. And it starts with this guy, number 95, Kairos Tonga. I love this guy. You know, he can two-gap you, meaning he can grab the center, and if the ball's in this A-gap, he plays the A-gap. If the ball is in this A-gap, he plays that gap. He can play 2 gaps. And he can keep these offensive linemen, sometimes 2 of them, off of Spillane. So Spillane is Robert Spillane. He has 72 tackles. He wears number 14. Everybody's saying, he's missing tackles early in the season. He's playing his ass off. He's probably having a blast playing linebacker behind Tonga. The run defense is awesome. They set the edges and they force the ball up inside, and that's where the strength of this Patriot defense is. They've done a great job making offenses one-dimensional. The Patriots secondary, a lot of people have been critical of the big plays that they've given up. They've given up 31 passes of 20 yards or more. And earlier in the year, Christian Gonzalez, number 0, wasn't playing. He was hurt. And they got victimized on some passes down the field. They ran a corner blitz against the Saints, and the receiver ran a double move on Duger, the safety. Well, he's in Pittsburgh now. But my point is, lately, they've done a much better job. They did lose some 50-50 battles to Drake London last week that were some of the great catches you will see. It's not like the coverages are blown. These guys are making contested catches to get some of these plays done. I like the makeup of the Patriots secondary. They're young, they can play man-to-man, and if the Buccaneers don't get some healthy receivers out there, I would expect them to do what the Lions did. Come right up in here, Clay. I got you. Hey, Malisak, I got you. Tight bump and run coverage and have somebody spy on Mayfield. Patriots have done a nice job on 3rd down. They give up 33% on 3rd down. That's top 5 in the league. Last week against Atlanta, Penix and company come to Foxborough, 1 for 10. It's impressive. Different coverages, and they have a lot of different alignments. They can play nickel, they can play base, they can play a dime, they can bring in specialists to stop certain patterns in key situations. Their red zone defense has to pick up. The great thing New England has done is they've only given up 20 red zone drives this year. So they're keeping people out of the red zone. But when they do get into the red area, New England's given up 75% touchdowns. Last week, Atlanta got in the red area, was 3 for 3. So even though they're making some 50-50 catches, whatever it may be, we got to force field goals. We can't keep giving up touchdowns. They're last in the league in touchdown percentage. And I do think they got to really continue to examine their fourth quarter pass rush. You know, Mike Penix came into Foxborough, threw for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. When you get a team behind in the scoreboard at home by 2 touchdowns or 2 possessions, you got to put the lights out with your pass rush. Unfortunately for the Patriots, they didn't get that done last week. They let Atlanta hang around. They don't blitz very much. Under Coach Vrabel, the Patriots only blitz about 23% of the time. They rely on their 4-man rush. They rely on their coverage to force quarterbacks to hold the football. Will Coach Vrabel heat up a couple of these offensive linemen that are backup players on the right side? We will see. This pass defense, they're going to have their best game of the season. They rose to the occasion in Buffalo to beat the Buffalo Bills. But Josh Allen, Mike Penix, Spencer Rattler, Geno Smith, Tua of the Dolphins all had over a 100 QBR against this secondary. And I think Mayfield's going to let it rip 40 to 45 times, so they got to have their game ready to roll. Let's take a look at the matchups. This offensive line of the Bucs, Tristan Wirfs is back at left tackle. He's a premier player, blue chip player. I thought Chase Young of the Saints gave him a couple really tough snaps last week, but Wirfs is a hell of a player. Bredesen is struggling at left guard. He had a penalty last week. He got beat a couple times in pass protection. I think Bredesen is coming off one of his most difficult games last week, and he's beat up. So I would expect New England to put Milt Williams over there and get after him. They got a great center in Graham Barton, number 62, first-round pick out of Duke a year ago. Hell, he had to go play left tackle earlier in the season when Wirfs was hurt. That's the kind of skill level Barton has. Right guard, it'll be Luke Haggard again, the carousel of guards. It's been unbelievable what offensive line coach Kevin Carberry has had to do. Cody Mock is out, Jordan's out, Feeney's out. Here we go with Luke Haggard. So I would expect Milton Williams, I would expect Tonga, I would expect Barmore to go after these guards with authority, and I'm sure that's part of the game plan. Charles Heck is the right tackle of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He too has struggled. He's given up more pressures in 5 games than Luke Gedeke gave up all last season. So the protection off this right side is an issue, and I think Harold Landry, who's got 5.5 sacks, Clavon Chason, who's got 5.5 sacks, they're going to be over here. Would you go over there or would you go work on Tristan Wirfs? You don't need to be that smart, do you? The Patriots front, you know, this Christian Barmore, he wears number 90. He's a hell of a run defender. Comes out of Alabama. He's been a pain in the ass to block his whole career. He has no sacks, but he has 30 pressures. The big thing with Barmore is when you put him and Tonga next to each other, it's hard to run the football in there. But they're clearly led by Milton Williams, the former Philadelphia Eagle, who got over $100 million to play for the Patriots. He's got 3.5 sacks, 23 pressures. Number 97 Williams against Bredesen and Haggard is a matchup to watch for. And the left tackle Wirfs, we know he's a Pro Bowl player. I think Chason and Landry are going to do their best to work over here against Heck at right tackle. You'll even see Chason stand up. He'll come over the center, walk around like a rover, and try to confuse some of these protections of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The wide receivers for the Buccaneers, Igbuka, 34 catches, 562 yards. They'll play him at X receiver. They'll play him in the slot. They'll move him over here at Z. He's a very versatile, complete route runner. But how healthy is he? What is his stamina? And who is his backup if he gets tired? Keep an eye on that. They're going to need a big game from Sterling Shepard. We've talked about him. He wears 17. He's got 27 catches, 275 yards. He can really hurt you as a route runner. He's got in and out quickness. He's sudden. He's decisive. He's QB friendly. You can tell when he's running a man-to-man route, he'll sit down against zone. Shepard and Mayfield go way back. And over here, who's it going to be? Tez Johnson, 7th-round rookie out of Oregon. He's caught 15 passes, 14 in the last few weeks. He can haul ass. He's light and slight. He is the lightest, smallest receiver in the NFL, and I would get up on him and play a lot of press coverage if I were New England. You might see Cameron Johnson, who's got 4 for 61. Ryan Miller's got 2 for 34. They're going to use all these receivers when they're in 11 personnel on a hot day if they're throwing the ball a lot. But the matchups on the outside, Christian Gonzalez, number 0. 1st-round pick out of Oregon, hurt as a rookie. He is healthy now. He's got 5 PBUs, got really good ball skills. He can find it in the blind spot. He'll tackle. He has no fear, none, 0. I love this guy. He's got a 58 QBR against him, 18 completions, 31 attempts. Not a lot of damage. Gonzalez, the guy I would want against Ibuka as much as I could. On the other side, it's the ex-Buccaneer Carlton Davis. Davis left Tampa to go to Detroit. Now he's here in New England. He has struggled when it comes to Carlton Davis's standards. He's got a 102 QBR against him. He's given up 3 touchdowns. That number, 102, is the highest it's been for Davis since his rookie year in 2018. The Bucs know Davis. I'd be surprised if they don't tap into some of their intelligence and work him pretty good. The slot corner for the Patriots, I love this kid. Marcus Jones, number 25. The only downside is he's 5'8", and he can get beat in some of these 50-50 situations by big receivers. But he has 2 picks. He is a great tackler, 39 tackles. He can really recover. He recognizes patterns, smart, great communicator, and one hell of a punt returner. So I love Jones, really love Gonzalez. I think Carlton Davis has got to be ready, man. I think Tampa Bay is going to put some good players over there and attack them. The tight end for the Bucs is Cade Otton, and his numbers are soaring after all the injuries to these receivers. He didn't do much the first couple weeks, but he's up to 26 catches, 271 yards, hasn't scored yet, but he is a very, very reliable target, and Mayfield likes him in the red zone and in key situations. They're starting to play Payne Durham, number 87, from Purdue. They're starting to play him a little bit more. He was a hell of a receiver at Purdue, but they're using him as a blocker, not as a receiver. He hadn't caught a pass. He's a little high and erect in the running game. Got to get those pads down. And I'd like to see them throw him a pass because this guy can run. But they are using a lot of 2 tight ends. It'll be Rachaad White as the feature back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is a very good back. He has 21 catches. He can catch the ball one-handed. He can line up in empty sets. Good blitz pickups. 77 catches, 290 yards. Quality back. And his backup, Sean Tucker, they're going to need to get more from Tucker. He's averaging 3.3 yards a carry, 23 carries, 76 yards. If Bucky Irving isn't back for a while, it's the committee of Tucker and White that has to carry this running game and get it started, get it going again. The linebackers for the Patriots, this Spillane, Robert Spillane, he is a hell of a linebacker, no matter how you cut it. He has a great feel in the passing game to pass guys off when he's the robber, when he's the man cover guy. He communicates, he rattles your freaking cage. He's a badass. They're going to miss Christian Ellis, 53, if he doesn't play. He's a good player. He particularly helps the Patriots in their nickel defense against the pass. If he doesn't go, Jack Gibbons. Good player. He's got 30 tackles, but he's going to have to really play in the sub package a lot more than probably he thought he would earlier in the season. The safeties, there are 2 good young safeties for the Patriots that are worth talking about. I would like everybody to pay attention to number 21, Jalen Hawkins. You know, as a rookie last year, he only played a few snaps. He was a backup. But Mike Vrabel comes in with a new scheme. This cat has 32 tackles. He's got a sack and a half, 2 interceptions, and he's versatile. I mean, he'll come downhill in the running game, and he will hammer your ass, man. Pow! He'll come down. Plus, he'll retreat. He'll play deep. He has good range. He's getting better and better and better as the weeks unfold. We got 2 great young safeties in this game, Tyke Smith and Jalen Hawkins. The other safety is rookie Craig Woodson. I mean, here's a guy that comes in here. He's played 98% of the plays for the New England Patriots. It's a credit to him. He's got 39 tackles, which is second on the team. He's really good in the box. They're not afraid to put him on the tight end in coverage. He's a real big contributor for this defense. Hawkins and Woodson going to have a big role stopping Cade Otton in this tight end running back pass receiving game from the Buccaneers. I think it's a similar game plan on both sides. Both offenses have injuries to their top running backs. They struggle to run the football, and they're facing defenses that are excellent stopping the run. I expect both of these quarterbacks, both of these offenses to feature the passing game and let it rip here in Tampa, Florida at 1 o'clock Sunday. You know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got a lot of plays that start off looking the same that are different. That's a quality I believed in as a coach. It's a philosophy. But they start off in a trips formation, and they'll use their wide receiver Tez Johnson, or could be Egbuka, depending on who they want where, but they'll create a bunch formation by bringing that outside receiver in motion. And on the snap of the ball in the red zone last week, you see Tez Johnson run an ultra-high corner at warp speed. I love it. And Egbuka, he sprays his release and runs a 10 to 12-yard hook route. And the Bucs read that corner. If he jumps that hook, they'll throw the corner. If he sinks underneath that route, he'll throw the hook. And the tight end, Cade Otton, is in the flat. So if they do compress on the hook, they throw the ball in the flat. And guess what Otton did last week? He ran it down to the 1-yard line. Then the next time, they'll bring the receiver in short motion, and he'll run a through route right through the free safety's inside shoulder. And they'll take their receiver, Tez Johnson. He'll spray that release up to 18 yards, and he'll run a nice square-in dagger route. And there's your tight end again, Otton, slamming the defensive end in the flat. And we peek this, and we throw it there first or in the flat. Bam! Another completion. And then finally, here's Egbuka on the outside. Now he comes in motion. And they use Tez Johnson's speed to run a post route right through the inside digit of the corner. And out of motion, Egbuka pushes it up, and he runs a corner route wide open for a big third down. And there's your tight end slamming it in the flat. But they got 3 or 4 different plays from the exact same formation, and they'll utilize Tez Johnson's speed and Egbuka's route running the best way they can to service the pattern. And it's effective, and it's good stuff. Well, you got to pick somebody. And I know Tom Brady's a huge part of this game. All the championships that he brought to the Patriots, the championship he brought to our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But when I think of Tom Brady, I can only think of the Tuck rule. I can't take the Patriots in this game. I got to roll with my Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off a bye. Tampa Bay 23. New England 20 on a Chase McLaughlin 48-yarder at the buzzer. Go Bucs! That was a fumble! That was a fumble!